This is the first of what I hope will be regular monthly updates on my fitness progress, and in this update I'll review what I've been doing for the last 3 months since letting myself go for the better part of a year. And towards the end of the video I'm going to get into one issue that kind of snuck up on me and caused me some issues that I should have seen coming. These updates will obviously be based on my own experience. Now, I'm a 6'4", 205 pound, 55-year-old male who's had a history of working out on and off for the last 40 years or so. So if that doesn't describe you, there's a good chance that your experience with starting a fitness program will differ significantly from mine. So we are all individuals, and what works for me may not work for you. So in these updates, instead of giving you the specifics of exactly what exercises I'm doing and how many reps and how many sets and what the rest times are, I'm going to stick to broad concepts that are likely to apply to most people who are starting to get fit. My hope for these updates is that my successes will inspire you and my challenges and failures will inform you and give you some insight on what issues you might face as you start your fitness journey. What have I been up to for the last 3 months? Well, I did one workout in late June, but for all intents and purposes, I started exercising on July 4th. And that's when phase 1 of my exercise plan began. I had 4 goals for phase 1. Number 1, establish the habit. Just make sure I work out every time I had planned to work out. Number 2, don't get injured. Avoid injury at all costs. Goal number 3 was just to reacquaint myself with exercise and the movements involved, focusing on good technique and full range of motion. And number 4, obviously, I wanted to start to build my strength. Now notice the priorities here. I was not going out that first month and trying to get jacked. I just wanted to establish the habit and avoid injury. The rest would take care of itself. As far as where and when I chose to work out, I chose to work out in my backyard. I have an exercise structure out there, so I have a pull-up bar and I have some parallel bars I can do dips on. And I was not planning on doing anything but body weight exercises, keeping things really light, and also limiting my time, so about a half an hour workouts. So there was no need to jump in a car and commute to the gym at this point. I've also had really good success starting my exercise habit in my backyard because it's so easy. You just put on your exercise gear, walk out there, and you're ready to go. My chosen time to work out was 5:30 a.m. And again, this was just based on past experience. I know that starting my exercise habit is more effective if I do it in the morning. First of all, my exercise is done for the day by 6 a.m., so I don't have to think about it the rest of the day. The second reason early morning workouts are so effective is that there is nothing competing for your time at 5:30 a.m. If you choose any other time of the day, like after work, you could hit traffic on the way home, which puts you behind schedule. You might have a meeting, you might have a friend ask you to run an errand for them. There could be any number of things that compete for your time. That rarely, if ever, happens at 5:30 a.m. If you can pull it off, early morning workouts are a great way to start your fitness habit. What did I do in phase 1? Well, I exercised 2 days a week. I did a full body workout each session, and I had 2 rest days between my 2 workout days. Now, I happen to choose Monday and Thursday, but you can choose any 2 days you want. Just make sure that there's at least 2 rest days between your workouts to allow your body to recover. Now, as far as what I did during my workouts, I picked 3 lower body exercises and 3 upper body exercises. The lower body exercises I chose were the Bulgarian split squat, the goblet squat, and lunges. And the upper body exercises I did were pull-ups, dips, and push-ups. Now, to give you an idea of how deconditioned and weak I was, on that first day I could barely eke out 7 push-ups. I couldn't do a pull-up to save my life, and I could maybe get 2 or 3 dips. So during this phase 1, I didn't use any extra resistance as far as resistance bands or dumbbells or anything. It was just body weight only. And in fact, I used bands to assist me while I was doing my pull-ups and dips just to get me into an adequate rep range. The only issue I experienced in phase 1 was muscle soreness, which was fully expected. This is something you're not going to be able to avoid when you first start strength training. In fact, I like the feeling because it gives me a good indication that I've provided enough stimulus to the muscle for it to respond, hopefully grow, and get stronger. At the end of July, I felt like I was in the groove. I hadn't missed any workouts. I felt like my fitness habit was well on the way to being established, and I felt like I was ready to do a little bit more. So I was ready for phase 2. So phase 2 was much the same as phase 1. The only difference was I added an extra workout day during the week. And I also introduced an upper-lower split. So on Monday, I would only work my legs. On Tuesday, I would only work my upper body. And on Friday, I would do a full body workout. Now, I had the same goals as phase 1, really focusing on establishing the habit and not getting injured. And I used the same exercises as phase 1. By adding the extra training day and introducing the split, I basically just increased my training volume. And a greater training volume results in a greater stimulus to the muscle, which in turn provides a greater response and hopefully increased strength and growth. Now at the end of the third week of August, what I noticed at 5:30 a.m. was it was getting a little bit colder and a little bit darker. I was also at the point where I wanted to up my training volume a little bit further, and I just didn't have time at 5:30 because I had to start getting ready for work at 6 a.m. So I had to find another way to fit exercise into my weekly schedule. So for the last week of August, I did a time tracking exercise to see where I could possibly find some wasted time that I could reallocate towards my fitness habit. Now what I found when I evaluated my time tracking is that I was wasting my half hour at lunch at work every day walking to a coffee shop and aimlessly scrolling on my phone. So what I decided to do was approach my manager, arrange to start half an hour earlier so that I could take an hour for lunch, I could walk to a nearby rec center and get my workout done during my lunch hour. With my 5 lunch hours during the work week and an added session on Saturdays, I now had 6 workout sessions available to me each week. Now this sounds like a huge increase over what I was doing in phase 2, but the reality is that during my lunch hour I have to walk to the rec center, I have to get changed, and at the end I have to have a shower and walk back to work, so it allows me actually about 40 minutes of actual workout time. And for strength training, I'm doing a upper-lower split. So on Tuesdays, I do lower body. On Wednesdays, I do upper body. On Fridays, I do lower body. And Saturdays, again, I do upper body. So as far as the strength training goes, I moved from 3 30-minute sessions in phase 2 to 4 40-minute sessions in phase 3. In addition to the 4 strength training sessions, I added 2 sessions of cardio. Now they're not full cardio because I like to hop in the sauna after. It's one way I reward myself for faithfully sticking to my workout habit. But I introduced a bit of cardio 2 times a week just to try to establish a bit of a cardio baseline. Although I love this workout schedule and the fact that I'm able to complete most of my workouts during my workday, it does come with a couple of challenges. The first of which is 40 minutes is not a lot of time to work out, I'm finding. And number 2, it's a very small gym at the rec center close to my work, so if you have 4 or 5 people in there, it feels very busy and it's sometimes hard to do the exercises you need to do when you want to do them. So to address the first issue, which is lack of time, I have to move quite quickly from exercise to exercise, maybe decreasing rest times a little bit more than I'd like. I also do fewer exercises so I don't have to repeat so many warm-ups, and I do a lot of supersetting so I can pack a lot of action into a small amount of time. The other thing I did was move one of my upper body workouts to a Saturday when I have a little bit more time. I find it really challenging to get a good full upper body workout in 40 minutes. But on Saturday I can do about an hour and 15 minutes, so at least I get one great upper body workout during the week. Leg days tend to be a lot easier. I only do about 3 or 4 exercises for legs usually, so they easily fit into a 40-minute session. To address the second issue, which is the fact that the gym is very small, I just have to have a variety of exercises. If a machine or a bench is busy, I just have another way that I can hit that muscle group. I don't have time to wait around. In phase 3, I've had a couple issues that come up. Number 1, I've been dealing with a little bit of left shoulder pain just during bench press and bench flies. Now it hasn't been getting worse. It's been actually getting a little bit better. I only feel it during the first rep or 2 of the set and then it goes away. So if it was a case where the pain was persisting through the whole set, or if the pain was getting worse, or certainly if I was experiencing any pain at rest, I would back right off and not do any exercises that elicit that pain. What we don't want to do at this point in our training is to take a mild acute injury and let it fester into a chronic injury. Just stop doing what aggravates it and take care of it before it becomes a big problem. The second issue that's come up in phase 3 is at the end of September, I kind of hit the wall. I felt really burned out. I woke up on a Thursday, felt extremely tired. I was scheduled to do cardio and sauna that day, and when I got on the bike at the gym, I had nothing in the tank. So I immediately stopped, did my sauna session, and on Friday I did a really light full body workout so that I could completely rest Saturday, Sunday, and Monday just to get myself back on track, and that worked quite effectively. Now when I hit that wall, I immediately suspected that nutrition might be my problem. I had not been tracking my calories or macros at all to this point, and I had been eating much the same as I had before I started phase 3. So what I decided to do, because I eat mostly the same thing every day, dinners are different, but during the day I often eat the same foods, I decided to see where I was at as far as calories and the protein, carbs, and fat. What I discovered when I did a little bit of nutrition analysis was that I was not getting enough calories, I was getting far too few carbohydrates, and probably not getting enough protein for the increased activity level that I was experiencing in phase 3. I was basically starving myself, and my body was not getting the energy it needed to sustain the activity level that I was trying to sustain. As a result of that analysis, I've increased my carbohydrate intake significantly. I've increased my protein intake a little bit, and as a result of that, I'm now taking in enough calories to meet the energy demands of my phase 3 workout schedule. And I haven't had any further issues with burnout, fatigue, or overtraining. And just one final note on this update regarding supplementation, I have been taking creatine every day. In all my research, creatine seems to be the most universally recommended supplement when you're trying to develop strength. I hope that me sharing this update will help you in some small way in achieving your fitness goals, and remember that small, consistent actions equal big changes.